Hello, Wellspring. So we are continuing on in our journey through the prophets in the Old Testament. Today we are going to be on the book of Obadiah. It's the shortest book in the Old Testament. It is 21 verses in total. So we're actually going to read an entire book of the Bible today, even though we are only reading one chapter. It's one book, one Bible, or one prophet, one book, one chapter, 21 verses. Now this prophetic book is a little bit different. It has the same kind of trajectory in that we're going to see God's judgment is proclaimed. We're going to see that there's a lack of justice. That we're going to see that God is going to act in a way that brings justice. God is going to act in a way that brings righteousness to an unrighteous people, in the sense of they're going to pay the consequences for their sin, but we're going to end in a place of hope where God is promising to restore humanity, where God is promising to restore all nations unto Himself. And Obadiah is a little bit of a different approach in that we're going to hear a lot about Edom. We're going to hear about how God is going to judge Edom, about the day of the Lord coming down on Edom, and why that's going to happen. So, Edom is the descendants of Esau. So, if we remember back to the book of Genesis, um, we have Jacob and Esau born, and there's this animosity between them, and Jacob steals Esau's birthright and then steals his blessing, and Esau wants to kill Jacob, and Jacob hides for a while, and then they come back and they bury their father Jacob together, right? All that stuff happened between them. But the descendants of Jacob become Israel, and the descendants of Esau become Edom. And there's always tension between them. Even though they're family and they draw back to the same lineage with Jacob, there's always a tension. There's always a wrestling. There's always struggle between them. And so when Judah, or when Israel is exiled, when they're overthrown, when the Babylonians come and drive them out of Jerusalem, the Edomites go and pillage and take and destroy what's left after the Babylonians clear out. And because of that, God's judgment is going to come down on the Edomites. And we're going to hear that from the book of Obadiah for the first chunk, the first 14 verses or so. And then we get this kind of connection verse where in verse 15, Obadiah is going to say, "The day of the Lord is near for all nations. As you have done, it will be done to you. Your deeds will return upon your own head." And so the judgment will transition from just being on the nation of Edom, or the people of Edom, to all people. And then we're going to hear this judgment that gets declared. And then finally, we're going to see in the final couple verses of Obadiah this idea that God is going to establish a new Jerusalem where He will welcome all humanity, all nations, all of Israel, all of Edom, all of the nations of the world back into relationship with Him, where God's going to welcome them back in, not by what they do, but because He is full of mercy and grace and compassion, if they will just turn their eyes towards it, right? And so part of what we have to recognize is that Edom is representative of all nations in this space, in this book of Obadiah. Obadiah is assuming that we're reading the other prophets, that we've been in this space of recognizing there's injustice. God is interested in justice. God is interested in compassion. God is interested in mercy, but there is a cost for sin. The day of judgment is coming. The day of the Lord is coming, and it has already come in some ways. Like, so this fits right in line with all of the other prophetic writings that we've been working through, especially these last couple weeks, right? Um, but this one's a little bit different in that it's not targeted necessarily just to Israel or Judah. It's targeted at Edom, these other descendants of Jacob that come from Esau. But there's something interesting here that Edom, in the Hebrew alphabet, is spelled with the same letters that spell out Adam in in the Hebrew. And so it kind of says to us this is about all humanity. The judgment of all humanity will come back on it for its own decisions, for what the choices we've made. But a day is coming where God will establish a new Jerusalem, a new place with humanity, where He will bring them into righteousness, where He will dwell with them and create opportunity for us to again dwell with God as we did in the garden, right? Naked and unafraid. And that naked is not just physically naked, but emotionally naked, intellectually naked, nothing to try to hide from God, no sin, no corruption, just a pure innocence with God where we'll get to dwell with him again in the New Jerusalem, right? So let's hear the book of Obadiah uh, from the NIV. The vision of Obadiah. This is what the sovereign Lord says about Edom. We have heard a message from the Lord. An envoy was sent to the nations to say, "Rise, let us go against her for battle. See, I will make you small among the nations. You will be utterly despised. The pride of your heart has deceived you. You who live in the clefts of the rocks and make your home on the heights. You who say to yourself, who can bring me down to the ground? Though you soar like an eagle and make your nest among the stars, from there I will bring you down, declares the Lord. If thieves came to you, if robbers in the night, oh, what a disaster awaits you. Would they not steal only as much as they wanted? If grape pickers came to you, would they not leave a few grapes? But how Esau will be ransacked, his hidden treasures pillaged. All your allies will force you to the border. Your friends will deceive and overpower you. Those who eat your bread will set a trap for you, but you will not detect it. In that day, declares the Lord, will I not destroy the wise men of Edom, those of understanding in the mountains of Esau? Your warriors, Taman, will be terrified, and everyone in Esau's mountains will be cut down in the slaughter. Because of the violence against your brother Jacob, you will be covered with shame. You will be destroyed forever. On the day you stood aloof, while strangers carried off his wealth, and foreigners entered his gates and cast lots for Jerusalem, you were like one of them. You should not gloat over your brother in the day of his misfortune, nor rejoice over the people of Judah in the day of their destruction, nor boast so much in the day of their trouble. You should not march through the gates of my people in the day of their disaster, nor gloat over them in their calamity, in the day of their disaster, nor seize their wealth in the day of their disaster. You should not wait at the crossroads to cut down their fugitives, nor hand over their survivors in their day of trouble. The day of the Lord is near for all nations. As you have done, it will be done to you. Your deeds will return upon your own head. Just as you drank on my holy hill, so all the nations will drink continually. They will drink and drink, and it will be as if they have never been. But on Mount Zion will be deliverance. It will be holy, and Jacob will possess his inheritance. Jacob will be a fire and Joseph a flame. Esau will be stubble, and they will set him on fire and destroy him. There will be no survivors from Esau. The Lord has spoken. People from the Negev will occupy the mountains of Esau, and people from the foothills will possess the land of the Philistines. They will occupy the fields of Ephraim and Samaria, and Benjamin will possess Gilead. This company of Israelite exiles who are in Canaan will possess the land as far as Zarephath. The exiles from Jerusalem who are in Sepharad will possess the towns of the Negev. Deliverers will go up on Mount Zion to govern the mountains of Esau, and the kingdom will be the Lord's. And so there we have Obadiah, this kind of brutal word for Edom, brutal word for all nations, but still the promise that God is going to restore, that God will draw all people into himself, that God is restoring all humanity, not just Israel, not just the Jews. God is interested in restoring relationship with all people. That's a praise for those of us who are Gentiles. And it was difficult for some of the Jews to accept this idea that God was interested in restoring humanity and not just the Jews, right? But God, in the New Testament, we find out God doesn't view us as Greek or Jew, Gentile, free, slave, Scythian, Mede, Parthian, barbarian, male, female, old, young. God sees us as his children and desires to call us into relationship with him. And a day is coming where we will all dwell with him again in the holy city, New Jerusalem. And there will be a new heaven and a new earth, and they will be joined together by that New Jerusalem where we can tabernacle, where we can dwell with God again because he has granted us his righteousness. Praise the Lord. God bless you, Wellspring. We'll see you tomorrow.